What if a legacy brand, like Range Rover, spent years preparing an electric luxury SUV, only for a Chinese automaker to show up first with something that costs a fraction of the price? Well, this is the Xpeng GX. It's enormous, it's packed with technology, it can steer its rear wheels, transform its interior, charge ridiculously fast, and even drive itself with some seriously advanced hardware. And yet, there's one thing about this SUV that could stop it from becoming the Range Rover killer everyone wants it to be. And by the end of this explainer, you'll know exactly what that is. Let's dive in.
We are looking at a really stark contrast right now between legacy preparation and disruptive reality. Legacy automakers have been painstakingly building up to this electric transition for years, but Xpeng, they just arrived first. They brought this massive, highly advanced electric SUV right to the table. And the real kicker is that it costs a mere fraction of the price you'd expect to pay for traditional European luxury. And honestly, that immediately forces us to ask a rather uncomfortable question. Why does this cost so much less? Because make no mistake, this isn't some tiny, stripped-down electric crossover. The Xpeng GX is a 5-meter-plus flagship SUV. It's trying to compete head-to-head with the entire luxury formula. We're talking comfort, space, technology, range, and advanced vehicle intelligence. Which brings us to Section 1, bending physics and size. Because to understand how they're pulling this off, we really have to look at the sheer scale of what Xpeng has built. So the GX has these classic, commanding luxury proportions. But think about it. Navigating a 5-meter-plus SUV into a tight parking garage usually requires a whole lot of calculation and breath-holding. The GX, however, uses rear-wheel steering. The rear wheels physically turn in the opposite direction at low speeds, which dramatically shrinks your turning circle. Then, at higher speeds, advanced steer-by-wire technology seamlessly adapts to give you a really natural, stable response on the highway. It literally bends the physics of its own size. The end result is totally fascinating. The GX looks like a luxury yacht, but it doesn't drive like one, at least not when you're maneuvering it around town, where it feels surprisingly nimble. Plus, because that steering system is entirely electronic, Xpeng has incredible flexibility with where the steering wheel can actually sit. You can dial in a position tailored for all-day comfort. And, small details like that become absolutely monumental when you spend hours behind the wheel. Moving right along to Section 2, a transforming rolling lounge, let's take a look inside. When you open those rear doors, you're greeted by these large, beautiful screens, minimal physical controls, and incredibly soft surfaces. But the features they've included are almost absurdly luxurious. The GX can actually transform. The rear seats literally disappear into the floor, turning a 6-seat setup into a massively spacious 4-seat configuration in seconds. Oh, and there's a built-in rear refrigerator that you can actually reach right from the front seats. No way, right? Now, having a front-accessible fridge or seats that vanish into the floor might sound a bit ridiculous on paper, but true luxury is being able to change the vehicle around your lifestyle. Whether you've got 6 passengers or just 4 people and a ton of luggage for a long road trip, the GX instantly adapts. Once you use features like this, they completely redefine what practical luxury actually means. But interior comfort is just the beginning. Let's step into Section 3, the new tech battlefield, because we need to move beyond just screens. If traditional luxury brands think they can compete simply by slapping a larger infotainment screen onto their dashboard, they are in for a serious wake-up call. For decades, traditional luxury just meant better leather, maybe some nicer wood trims, and solid sound insulation. But for a whole new generation of buyers, new luxury means having a vehicle packed with multiple sensors and high-performance computing. The car actually understands its environment, actively helps you, and updates itself to become smarter over time. Of course, none of that brilliant software matters if the car is constantly stuck plugged into a wall somewhere. To solve this, Xpeng uses a really clever dual powertrain approach. You have a pure electric version utilizing an 800-volt architecture for extremely rapid charging, but they also offer a range-extended version, which combines a battery with an onboard gas range extender. It's a brilliant middle ground. You get the silent, smooth feel of an EV, but it completely eliminates charging anxiety on long trips. I want to anchor on that number for a second. 800. Xpeng's 800-volt architecture is an absolute game changer. The real problem with electric cars isn't always the total range. It's the time you spend waiting around to get that range back. If you can add hundreds of kilometers of range during a remarkably short charging stop, the entire EV ownership equation shifts. Suddenly, the car fits into your daily life with zero friction. Which leads Xpeng to ask a very profound question. What should an SUV become when software is as important as the engine? The GX isn't just a luxury SUV. It's practically a foundational platform for advanced driver assistance and autonomous driving ecosystems. Legacy automakers can easily copy a grille design or a sleek body shape, but building a deeply integrated software ecosystem from scratch, that is incredibly difficult to replicate. So, given this staggering amount of space, cutting-edge technology, and crazy charging speed, you might be thinking this vehicle renders legacy SUVs completely obsolete. But here is the big problem. There's one hidden thing about this SUV that could stop it from becoming the ultimate Range Rover killer everyone assumes it is.
And that brings us to Section 4, the GX's hidden weakness. Let's take a look at the actual driving experience. Despite all the incredible tech, Xpeng made a very deliberate engineering choice here, and it leaves the door wide open for traditional luxury manufacturers. You see, the GX offers a masterclass in a passenger-focused experience. It heavily prioritizes automation, ease of use, and a suspension that is tuned purely for comfort. Contrast that with a driver-focused experience. Traditional luxury SUVs prioritize presence, deep character, and a real tactile driving connection. They make you feel incredibly special when you are the one behind the wheel. Simply put, the GX is trying to make the road disappear. It is not trying to be a giant sports SUV. Even in its sportiest settings, its primary goal is total isolation. And that is exactly why a certain demographic of buyers, the ones who want an SUV built around character and the sheer joy of piloting a massive machine, might still hesitate before handing over their money to Xpeng. Which brings us to the $40,000 plus question. Xpeng has packed steer-by-wire, transformable seats, massive displays, and autonomous driving tech into a vehicle positioned at a shockingly aggressive price point. So maybe the true danger to legacy automakers isn't that Xpeng built a better Range Rover. Maybe the existential threat is that they built something completely different, an SUV where technology is the entire point, and a new generation of buyers might just prefer that. So after seeing all this disruptive tech and understanding the fundamentally different driving philosophies, I want to leave you with this final thought. Would you spend your money today on the hyper-advanced, passenger-focused Xpeng GX, or would you still hold out and wait for the driver-focused legacy character of the electric Range Rover? The definition of luxury is officially splitting in two, and this battle for the future of the SUV is only just getting started.